Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. Today is a really exciting day for me because today I got a brand new Astro camera. I know, deja vu, right? It's just like I got a Astro camera just a few weeks ago, which I did. Man, this hobby is a bottomless pit, but I got this new camera because, as you know, I'm kind of getting into one-shot color shooting or imaging, right? And as great as the APS-C size 071 is, there was something I was really missing. If you've been with my channel for any amount of time, you'll know that I like to take smaller sensors and pair them up with my telescope to extend my focal length because it gives me more of a cropped in field of view. And since I've been experiencing the convenience of one-shot color on broadband targets, I thought I would get a smaller sensor OSC camera, and I got, well, let's see what I have here. And this box is already pre-knifed, guys. Sorry, I won't be knifing it today. I got this camera right here. Ooh. I love opening new cameras. It's amazing. I got a ASI 533 MC Pro. Now, this is a 1-inch sensor. So in theory, this is going to extend my focal length 3 times. And speaking of, let me explain what I mean by that. Did I mention it's raining right now? I promise it'll be clear later on. But for this demonstration, what I'm going to do is use this 300mm lens with my full frame DSLR camera. I'm going to take a picture of a leaf out there at 300mm. So let me do that. All right, and you'll notice the field of view with my full frame sensor at 300mm. Now, what I'm going to do is take the same lens and put it on a smaller sensor camera, such as my APS-C sized DSLR. So let me do that. All right, here's my APS-C sized DSLR. I'm going to rack this out to 300mm and take a photo of the same leaf. All right, now you'll notice how much more closer I am to that leaf. And all I did was switch out the sensor and use the same lens. The same thing can be applied in astrophotography. Sounds pretty magical, doesn't it? What it means is you can extend any telescope focal length that you have just by swapping out the camera chip size. In my case, with the 533, I'll be extending any of my telescopes up to 3 times. Now, let us do a few calculations here. Let's take my Zenithstar Z73, which shoots at a focal length of 435mm. Times that by 3, and we're looking at a focal length of about 1,305mm. All right, let's take my ASCAR 103 that shoots at 700mm. Times that by 3, and I'm looking at a telescope focal length of 2,100mm. Now let's take my Celestron C6, which shoots at 945mm with the reducer on it, times that by 3, and I'm shooting at a big whopping 2,835mm. That is amazing. But, and there's always a but in here, as astrophotographers, we have to pay attention to something that's called image scale. And this part is for our beginners. If you don't know what image scale is, basically it is how blurry a photo might be depending on the telescope and camera combination that you choose, which is called oversampling, how in focus and sharp your photo might be depending on the camera and telescope combination that you choose, which is optimally sampled, or how blocky and pixelated your photo might be depending on the camera and telescope combination that you choose. Think Minecraft. Lots of dust around here. That is called undersampling. Now, how do you know if you're oversampled or undersampled? Well, luckily for us, we have a good rule of thumb. What you want is to make sure your sampling is in between 1 arc second per pixel and 2 arc second per pixel. If you're under 1 arc second per pixel, so say 0.90, 0.80, you are heading into what's called oversample, right? So your photos will look blurry. Now, if you're above 2 arc second per pixel, you'll notice that your photos will start to look blocky and pixelated. All right. So how do you calculate that? Well, you can do a little bit of math and you can multiply 206, I think it's 0.26, times your pixel size, and then divide that by your focal length. Or you can make things easy on yourself and you can use some online calculators like Astronomy Tools or Bintel Calculator. Even Stellarium will calculate this for you. The neat thing is that with those tools, you're able to select different cameras and telescopes because all that information is already in those calculators. So it'll help you choose the right telescope and camera combination. Is especially helpful if you're buying your telescope and camera for the first time. Now, the image scale I'm going to get tonight, because I'm going to pair this up with my ASCAR 103, is about 1.1. So it is in that nice Goldilocks zone there. Now that we got that out of the way, now it's time to choose our target for this evening. And I think I'm going to shoot something I've never shot before. And I think I'm going to shoot M106. It is a galaxy that's not only straight up, it is actually 13.28 billion years old right now. And it is approximately 23.68 million light years away. That's pretty far away, guys. And it almost has 400 billion stars inside of it. I know, it's amazing that in this day and age, amateur astrophotographers can capture things like this in deep space. That just actually blows my mind. This is also a good time to use my ZWO Pier that I just got, since my target is straight up there. So I guess we'll see how well it works with my ASCAR 103, and then we will take a look at the data and see how well the 533 did. If it doesn't do very good and I don't like it, I'm definitely sending this little guy back. But I'm pretty hopeful, so let's get it. All right, I'm getting some pretty epic data on M106. Got my ASCAR 103 first light on my ASI533. And also I'm testing out my Pier extension. It seems to be working out really good. I like the height that it's at versus what the normal TC40 carbon tripod is kind of hanging around at. So things seem to be working good. It is clear and I'm just enjoying the night. Alright guys, check out that pier. I am imaging straight up right now and it's not hitting my tripod. So definitely what I needed. Awesome. Right, just past midnight and I'm trying to remain on task right now. I'm getting a lot of great data, but M104 is actually in the sky right now. And trying not to go for it actually. But I'm gonna be good. I'm just gonna concentrate on this target and get as much data as possible. There'll be more chances, well, at least I hope, before spring's out. So, all right, remaining on task. And look how low the moon is now. It's been great. It's been away from my target for most of the night. And really, really peaceful right now. Oh my gosh. Except for that light dome over there. Look at that. Wow. Alright, I think that's it for tonight. Look, check it out. The moon is down, finally. Behind the horizon. I got nearly 5 hours of data tonight, which is awesome. And I didn't get sidetracked, which is also good. So I get to go home and go to bed. I gotta work in the morning. I think I'll have time to stack this data by the weekend. So I guess I'll see how this turned out. So I guess this is good night, guys. So good night. All right, guys, welcome back. It is finally the weekend, and I did get a chance to stack my data. Now, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit more about the 533. The 533 has a 1-inch 9 megapixel square sensor. Now, I do have another camera that is a 1-inch sensor, but it has a rectangular sensor, my 183. This, because it's square, actually allows me to get in a little bit tighter. I get a more cropped in field of view. Also, this camera will feature a 3.76 micron pixel size. Now, that's important because I'm using this camera with longer focal length telescopes. And because of the pixel size, it's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. I'm able to get really good sampling with this camera. Also, it features a 14-bit depth ADC, which means I'm going to get really good dynamic range out of it. This is kind of an upgrade for me because the 183 has a 12-bit ADC, and I know that you can recover dynamic range through stacking, but there's something to be said with starting out with a higher bit depth camera. The same can also be said of me stacking a 14-bit camera and also getting more dynamic range. So in my opinion, it's always better to try and buy a camera that has the highest bit depth that you can afford. Also, this camera has 0 amp glow as well. And I love 0 amp glow cameras now. I don't know if I'm going to own another camera that does have amp glow because everything calibrates so nice in post-processing. And I definitely love it. All right. The other question is, since I'm using this for cropping in deep sky objects, can you use a larger sensor and crop in and make a similar type of photo? And that is a fair question. And the answer to that is possibly. You would need a few things in place. So number one, you need enough megapixels, right? You need enough resolution to do that. Also, with that, you'd have to have really good image scale. So that means you would need to have pixels small enough without oversampling your image to crop in far enough. Now, it is possible because I do that with my 294, but it's only good up to a certain point. In my opinion, it's always better to crop in optically than it is digitally or after the fact. And that is the purpose that this camera does serve. Alrighty. Well, let's go take a look at our data. And here is M106. And as you can see, I'm getting a ton of detail in this, actually. I'm getting its companion galaxy here and quite a few fuzzies. I mean, there's fuzzies here, fuzzies there over here, and there's fuzzies everywhere. And, and it's just amazing. A lot of good detail here on M106. And then let's take a look up here. There's this galaxy. And you can see the dust lanes in it. It's pretty amazing, right? That's looking really nice. And then this one is what gets me right here, is this little guy. You can tell it's another spiral galaxy, perhaps a barred spiral. I'm not sure. I'd have to do a little bit of research, but I can kind of see the structure of it. It's really, really cool. And then we have these guys up here, and also this little faint fuzzy right there. Okay, let's go see how much data we resolved on M106. So here is M106, and we're going to come in here a little bit. And I think this is about as far as I would want to crop in on this image. However, if we do one more click in, actually, that's not bad. You know, the stars aren't pixelating or anything, but the details are getting pretty muddy. But it's nice to know that I have some nice resolution to work with here. But I think if I were going to crop into this photo, I think maybe this would be the most zoomed in or cropped in that I would do, because it looks like it's retaining a lot of its resolution here. All right, well, I guess the only thing left to do is enjoy my photo of M106. All right, guys, so am I going to keep this camera? I'm going to say yes. This camera absolutely exceeded my expectations, and I think it's going to be a good addition, especially shooting galaxies and broadband targets for me in the future. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next. Peace.